There's a thought you've carried for years. You've believed it so long, you stopped questioning it. I always ruin things. God blesses other people, not me. I'll never really change. You've prayed about it. You've tried to think positive. But it always comes back. Here's what no one ever told you. That thought isn't a feeling you're fighting. It's a fortress. But Paul gave you the weapon to tear it down. Not a therapist's trick. A soldier's command. Stay with me. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to use it. When Paul says stronghold, he doesn't mean a feeling. He means a fortress. In his Greek, the word is ochuroma, a wall built stone by stone over years until it stands untakeable. And your mind builds them the exact same way. Neuroscience has a name for it. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you think a thought, your brain strengthens the connection. The more you repeat it, the easier it fires. Until one day it fires without your permission. Your brain isn't trying to make you holy, it's trying to make you efficient. And once it finds a pattern that explains your world, even a painful one, it keeps using it. That's why, repeat a thought long enough, and your mind stops checking it. It stops feeling like a thought. It starts feeling like a fact. That's why, I always ruin things, doesn't feel like a lie. It feels like the truth about you. So listen to how Paul says it. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Every word there is a war word. Paul grew up inside the Roman Empire. He watched their armies, and a Roman siege had 3 moves. First, they tore the wall down. Then, they exposed everything hiding behind it. And last, they took the enemy captive and marched him out in chains. And we're not guessing what that looked like. The historian Josephus, writing just a few decades after Paul, describes the Roman siege of a city called Jotapata in the year 67. The general Vespasian arrived with 3 legions. The city sat on a hill, ringed by ravines. It looked impossible to take. So the Romans built. They raised an earthen ramp up to the height of the walls. They rolled a siege tower up the ramp. 47 days. And the city fell. That is the picture in Paul's mind when he writes the word stronghold. Now the word that changes everything. That last word, captive. In Greek, it's aichmalotizo, the exact word for marching a defeated enemy in chains. Paul isn't telling you to manage your thoughts, he's telling you to take them prisoner. And the Romans had a ritual for it, the triumph. The defeated enemy was bound in chains and marched through the streets of Rome, behind the conquering general, for everyone to see. That is the image Paul reaches for. Not a thought you make peace with. A prisoner you march behind Christ. And notice, Paul lists all 3 phases of that siege in order. Pulling down of strongholds, that's demolition. Casting down every high thing, that's exposure. Bringing into captivity every thought, those are the chains. It's not 3 random pictures. It's one siege, step by step. Then Paul says something every Roman would have heard as a contradiction. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, not of this world. You don't tear down a fortress in your mind by forcing yourself to stop thinking. You don't shame it down. You don't drown it in noise. Those are the world's weapons. They suppress. They don't transform. The weapon Paul describes works differently. It doesn't silence the mind. It retrains it. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change through repeated exposure to truth. The Bible calls it renewal. Same process. 2,000 years of language between them. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. The word for transformed is metamorpho, the same root that gives us metamorphosis. Not a touch-up. Structural change. Paul isn't asking you to win by willpower. He's handing you the engineering of a siege against your own thoughts. But hear this, because it's where most people quit. Researchers who study how habits form estimate it takes about 66 days of repetition to make a new pathway the default. 2 months, not 2 minutes, not 2 prayers. The strongholds weren't built in a day. They won't come down in a day, but they will come down. And here's why this matters more than you think. The enemy doesn't always need to destroy your life directly. Sometimes he only needs access to your input. Because what you keep seeing shapes what you think. What you keep hearing shapes what you believe. The battle begins at the gate. There's one line that decides what stays and what falls. Every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God. That's the test. Not, does this thought feel true? Does it agree with what God has said about you? If it stands against his verdict, it's not your friend. It's a combatant. If that just reframed it for you, don't only listen, take a side. Put 3 words in the comments. Every thought bows. Saying it out loud is how your mind files it as your stance, not just something you heard once. So here's how you actually do it. Step 1. Separate the thought from yourself. Not, I'm anxious. Instead, I'm having the thought that this ends badly. Now you're looking at it. You're not standing inside it anymore. Try it with a thought you've carried for years. I am too much. Look at it from the outside. Where did it come from? Whose voice first said it to you? The moment you observe a thought instead of believing it, you've already begun to weaken its hold. Step 2. Interrogate it against one standard. One question. Does this agree with what God has said about me? You don't negotiate with a prisoner. You examine it. And if it stands against his word, you bind it. Step 3. Replace it. Don't just remove it. Your mind can't hold an empty room. Pull out, I'll never change, and set down what Paul wrote. If any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. And you don't walk into this unarmed. For the lie of shame, as far as the east is from the west, so far hath he removed our transgressions from us. For the lie of fear, God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. For the lie that your past defines you. If any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. These aren't slogans. They're the charges you place in the wall. Picture one ordinary morning. Before your feet hit the floor, the old thought is already running, the story about what kind of day this will be. In the old way, you'd push through, try harder. By noon, you'd be exhausted, and the thought would still be there. In the new way, you stop. You name it. You ask, does this agree with what God has said about me? And you replace it. Then, you start your day. You'll lose ground in the afternoon. You'll wake up tomorrow, and the wall will look rebuilt. That's not failure. That's siege warfare. You bring it down again. The Roman army didn't take a city in an afternoon. They sat outside the walls for months. They were patient. And the Spirit is patient with you. And if you've tried something like this before and it didn't stick, hear this. It probably did work. You just stopped before the new path formed. The first 100 times, the truth feels forced. Foreign. That's not failure. That's exactly what rebuilding feels like from the inside. You are not broken. Your mind learned patterns, and what learned them can learn new ones. The war was already won at the cross. What's left is the slow, patient work of taking back ground that already belongs to Him. Every wall comes down. Every loud voice gets reassigned to the obedience of Christ. If these 5 words just became a strategy instead of a slogan, comment, I choose God's truth, and subscribe. Next, we open a verse on prayer that almost everyone reads backwards.